Hey guys, what is up? So today's question is Q reconstruction by height. So let's look at the problem statement. The problem statement is pretty simple. It says that you're given people with their height and the number of people which are like taller than them or equal to their height, right? So for example, this over here means the height of the person is 7 and there's no one like taller or greater than his height in the queue. Whereas this means there's this person with the height 7 and this person with the height 7 comes before this person with the height 7, and the one resembles here that height is greater than equal to 7. Let's look at the output and understand it a little better. So here 5 comma 0 means the height of the person is 5 and there is no one taller or equal to this person's height in the queue. So imagine if output was a shop and you had to buy something. This would be the first person entering the shop, this would be the second person entering the shop, this would be the third, fourth, fifth and sixth person, right? Whereas the first index, like the I is equals to 1 in this 2D array, gives us the number of people who are taller than you, right? So let's try and visualize this on paper. So let's see. So let's try and see what it means. Let's imagine we have this 4, 5, 6 and 7, right? So we have these heights. 5 comma 0 is this, 7 comma 0 is this, 5 comma 2 is this, and 6 comma 1 is this, and 4 comma 4 is this, and 7 comma 1 is this. Imagine these are people over here. So this is the shop, this is the first person standing, there's no one in front of him, that is why the 0 over here. This is the shop, this is the person with the height 7 standing over here, and but there's no one in front of him who is equal to his height or taller than him, that is why a 0 over here, right? Similarly, this is the person with the height 5 and there are two people in front of him who have the height of either 5 or taller than 5, so that is why we have a 2 over here, right? Now moving on, let's see what actually matters, right? So if you closely look over here, people with smaller height don't really matter, right? In the first look, so let's say if you have someone, let's forget this input over here and let's imagine a person with a height of 5. This is the person with a height of 5. This is the person with a height of 7. And this is the person with a height of 4, right? So when you think about this index over here, right, this value doesn't really matter. This 4 value doesn't really matter because it would always give the value 5 comma 0, this would always be 7 comma 0, this would always be 4 comma 0 because 4 is less than 5, so obviously the person isn't taller or equal to 5. So the smaller person doesn't matter to the taller person over here. But now let's look at another case, which is, say this is a height of 7 and this is a height of 5 and this is a height of 4, right? And this is a height of 4 again, right? So this person with a height of 4 doesn't really matter to the person with a height of 7. This would always be 7 comma 0 if it was an output, and this would always be 4 comma 0. But if you look at this, the person with the height of 5, the person with the height of 7 really matters to this person. So it would be that the height of the person is 5 and there's one person before this person who will actually enter the shop who has a height equal or taller than this person, right? Similarly for 4, if you look, it would be like 4 comma 3. So now one thing is pretty simple if you think naturally. What does matter is how you sort this thing by the height of the person. So what I am thinking of is, let's sort this array over here, this array actually over here by in descending order of the height. First let's sort this in descending order of the height. Let me just tell you what happens once I do this. So once I sort this by descending order of height, you would get 7 comma 0, then you would have 7 comma 1, and then you would have 6 comma 1 over here, right? And then you would have a 5 comma 0, and then you would have a 5 comma 2, and then you would have a 4 comma 4. So now that we know the taller person matters to the smaller person, we are somewhere close to a sub problem. So imagine this being a part of a sub problem. Now you actually got your counting right somehow over here. If you look in, for some cases, like for say 6 comma 1, you could say that there are two people greater than this person, this third person, which is first and second people are greater than him, but we have a 1 over here. So we'll talk about that. But right now we know that we actually have this problem in that order, that things matter to this 6. If this 6 was over here, which it wouldn't have been, either we could have sorted this way. So yeah, either it could have been like 4 comma 4, 5, 5, 6, 7 and 7, right? So this 4 wouldn't have mattered to this 5, but right now this 5 matters to this 4, right? Now the second thing is, let's actually again do sorting, but based on how many people are in front of the other person, right? So once we do that, we get the output like based on this index. Let's do the sorting. So we get 7 comma 0, 7 comma 1, then we get 6 comma 1, right? Then we would get it's an increasing order, so yeah, pretty much this. We would actually get this 5 comma 0, and then we would get 5 comma 2, and then it would be 4 comma 4. Now that we have this, let's think of one thing. Let's initialize an array. Let's erase this. Let's initialize an answer array, right? So we'll iterate through this array over here, and we'll append data to this answer array over here. So the first element is this 7 comma 0, right? So the answer would be this would actually symbolize the index it should be at. So what I mean is that, say 4 comma 4, what does this mean? The height of the person is 4, and there are 4 people before this 4 who have height taller or greater than 4, right? So there are actually 4 people. So right now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this should be at the 4th index to make it possible, so that there are 4 people taller than him, right? So let's look at this again. So what we'll do is we'll now put elements using this index, right? So it would be insert 7 comma 0. So now let's start iterating. So you would get a 7 comma 0 over here, right? Then this needs to be at the first index, so 7 comma 1. This needs to be at the first index, so it would become 6 comma 1, and the 7 comma 1 would shift. This would become 6 comma 1, and 7 comma 1 would shift. Now 5 comma 0, so 5 comma 0 becomes the 0th index, this becomes the first, this becomes the second, and this becomes the third. Now you have 5 comma 2, so this becomes the second index, so it comes over here 5 comma 2, right? 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4 comma 4, so it becomes at the 4th index, 4 comma 4. Now let's write it out a little clearly. So 5 comma 0, 7 comma 0, 5 comma 2, 6 comma 1, and then we have 4 comma 4, and lastly we have 7 comma 1. Once let's check it manually. 0 people in front of this with a height greater than equal to 5, same for this. 2 people with a height greater than equal to 5, yes, 2 people. 1 person with a height greater than equal to 6, yes, just 1 person. 4 people with a height greater than 4 or equal to 4, yeah, 4 people, and just 1 person with a height greater than equal to 7, yes. So this is the correct output. I know this was a tricky pattern to actually figure out, and it took me some time. So now let's try and code this problem straight away. So moving on to the code. So first thing first, we need to actually sort the array. So I'll sort the array based on 2 conditions. The first one would be, I would actually take the height into descending order, and for that what I do is I'll multiply it with a negative, because naturally the sort function sorts it in the ascending order, and once you multiply it with a negative, it sorts it into a descending order. Once I do this, then I would sort it based on the index value, right? Once that is done, I'll initialize an answer array, and then I'll go through input array for I in range 0 to length of people, answer dot insert. You would have the index position would be ith's element first value, and where you would insert that value. So for example, 7 comma 0 would be inserted at 0th index. So this denotes the 0th index, and this means 7 comma 0. So now let's try and simply return this and check. Okay, there's a problem over here. Let's see. Int object is not susceptible. So it would be people. It would actually be people I and then 1. So in place of that, let's do this simply. Let's simply write it like this for I in people. So that would just give us this element, the whole element, and now it would work perfectly. Yeah, so this works. I've done this question quite a few times today. So yeah, the solution works. This was a tricky question to really figure out. You have to really think about that. Where should be the smaller person? If the smaller person comes in front of the taller person, that person doesn't matters. So you need to put initially smaller person behind the taller person, right? So that was it for today. I'll see you tomorrow with the Leetcode daily challenge.